morning. Welcome to Treetop Flights, my new YouTube channel. I've just received delivery of my RANS S-21 Outbound airplane, and this channel is going to be dedicated towards monitoring and documenting my build along the way. Okay, laying at the base of my cage pallet is a package of information. We will see what's in there and start with that. Well, one of the first gotchas was when you read the instructions, the first thing they ask you to do is go to the RANS website and download the builder's manuals. There's 3 manuals. The reason I say it's a gotcha is this clearly should be done prior to getting delivery of your kit, as it took me about 3 hours to print out. Each manual has about 200 pages. You can see all the tabs. These are all the different sections. Each manual is the same thing, so you've got to create all the tabs, print out. Your printer cranks out about 200 pages per manual, so it's 600 pages. Went through more than a ream of paper and had to replace my ink cartridge once, so it's a lot of printing to get 3 200-page manuals out. And it's certainly something I could have done before the arrival of my kit. It looks like the first part of unpacking is just a whole bunch of screw removals and getting the wood apart. I do plan on trying to build a table from the crate. There's another YouTuber, Steve Cox with Clear Direct, that has a nice video of how he built his work table from the crate, and I'm going to work off that plan and see if I can use the most or a lot of this lumber for the table. And as I flip through the rest of this package, this is the inventory list. Let me see if I can do that without disrupting the camera. This is all the inventory list. I'm guessing maybe 25 pages of parts and pieces. So that looks like where we're going to start. Well, get ready for inventory. There's a lot of stuff, and I got to worry about the skins and taking those off carefully, and I'll take a video of that. But I opened this box, which was real heavy, was tucked in the cage, and it must have 10,000 bags in there. So get ready for it. Well, what I've decided to do is, as I take them out of the box, I'm trying to take them out by groups. Firewall forward, stabilizer, wing, etc. And I take them up here, as many in a group that I can, so I can keep the page of my inventory list without having to search too much. And then I'm resorting them by the area of the plane for the project. So each one will have its own place, and when I work on that part of the plane, I'll have all the parts sorted by that group. Hopefully that'll get me a little more organized, rather than the great big box of every possible part to every possible part of the plane. Hope this works better. Okay, so the way we tackled this is we started taking the crate apart. It's got a combination of screws and staples. Don't be fooled by the staples. They're aggressively strong. They held on the whole back ends, and they were a bear to get out. So we've taken 2 sides off to expose the rest of the hardware that we didn't inventory from the beginning, as well as a lot of the skins are all under here. So our plan is to slide the skins out and get the rest of the parts out, lay them off in an empty spot, and then rebuild this wood into a table, and then finish our inventory on what's missing from the inventory list. We'll follow up later. Yay! We have finished inventory. My son did give me a hand on it, but it took about 22 man-hours to complete the inventory. What we did is we grouped, as I mentioned previously, we've grouped all the parts by their respective airplane part, separated them, checked them off the inventory list. I kept most of the stabilizer parts up here. That'll be the first part of my build, will be the horizontal vertical stabilizer. The rudder was already completed at the RANS workshop. And I do have a bedroom downstairs that's also loaded with parts that will come up later in the build. Next step is to build the table, and we're going to take the 2x2s off of all the sideboards and start a frame on that, and then build the table from the wood that's been provided by Rands in the crate. And we'll update you on see how that goes. Okay, I'm going to do a little table update. As I mentioned earlier, I am building the table from the crate that Rand sent the skins in, one of the crates. It's not the fastest table build, but it uses a lot of lumber. If you've got a handy person around that wants to do some work, removing staples would be one of the projects. There's 4,000 staples, 2-inch staples holding the crate together, so a lot of staple removal. So not the most efficient if you value your time. So you do is you remove the 2x2s that are all over the place, and that's what I made my posts from, is 2x2s. Then I've put a 2x4 railing around. Oh, the important thing to remember is your 2x2s need to be on the outside of the box, because your skin dimension is 47 inches, so your skins have to slide in. This is actually going to be a shelf underneath. This is the top to the box that came to the crate, so the top is 4x12, so the top needs to be, will slide in on the 2x4s and create a shelf for my skins, so I can slide the skins in without bending them at all. And then I'll still have a bottom shelf underneath for storing things, so which is the original crate bottom. In the leveling process, because cement floors and garages aren't always 100% level, so even though each of these posts is 37 inches high, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be level. So what I did is I chalk lined a level 19-inch line. So even though the garage floor may not be perfectly level, we know that this 2x4 is. And then once that's in place, I took a level across to the other side, marked my 2 endpoints, so that we know this 2x4 is also level with the other one. So and I'll do the same thing with a top framing 2x4 around the top, and then we'll get the top on it. Okay, I decided to load the wing skins in before I finished the top of the table to give me access to kind of reach over and pull the skins in. That was actually a good decision, as these skins barely fit and they're really flexible, and you got to be careful not to bend them. So doing this ahead of time seemed like a good choice. Well, I thought I would take one more shot of it before I put the top on. Got it all framed out, got the skins underneath. Pay no attention to some 2x4s and 2x2s. I had some leftover garage lumber that I'm using up. The 2x2s are just to support the top so it doesn't buckle at all. So pretty much finished up with the framing, and then I'm just going to put the particle board top on top. So I have finished the table. I decided to use a 1/2-inch particle board as my surface, and also decided, per what I've read on some of the threads, is to put a lip on each side. So I've got a 1.5-inch lip on the side of the table, and I understand for clamping that'll come in handy. What that did is that forced me to use 51-inch pieces to go across the 48-inch frame, and then the 1.5-inch lip on each side. So I used 51-inch pieces, which means I couldn't have used a 4x8 sheet without cutting it longwise. So I ended up buying an extra sheet of particle board for $30, but I figured having the lip is worth it. So I'm happy with it. I've got the skins underneath, which was important. I have a second shelf on the bottom, which I also felt was important, and a nice flat work surface that should be level all the way down if my construction was right. A couple of final comments on tables, tools, and setup. If you don't want to use the crate for table materials, there are several table build plans available online. EAA has a set called Standardized Table Plans, which produce a pretty good table, although the wing skins wouldn't fit underneath without modifications. I also didn't include a discussion on the tools needed for the build. That would certainly be an episode of its own, but it would probably be best if I made that episode after I finish my build, as I'm already finding new tools that I need as I move along. And a couple other setup comments. You should consider joining the EAA, Experimental Aircraft Association. This is a great group with a tremendous amount of information for builders. There's a national group as well as local chapters, probably one in your area. One of the nice services they offer is an online builder's log. You're required to maintain a log, and the EAA log is very sufficient, allowing you to document your time and costs, as well as add photos and other information that you'll be required to have for your build. You should also establish contact with the local FAA DAR, Designated Airworthiness Representative. This is the person who will be granting you your airworthiness certificate. Probably a good contact to have early in your build, as they can help you along and keep you on track. I'm going to wrap up the video here. Your comments are welcome, and thanks for watching. Dream it and just do it.